The soul of the family's grandfather comes back to seek revenge on his grandchildren for burying him near a devil's grave. A family is tormented by a vengeful spirit, while a renowned shaman and her team face the daunting task of relocating an ancient grave to quell the unrest. Their journey unleashes a series of eerie events, blending traditional Korean mysticism with heart-stopping horror. Will they be able to stop the curse? Strap in, movie enthusiasts. It's recap time. Today, we will be diving into the story of the mystical horror film, Exhuma, from the year 2024. So, let's start. The story unfolds with renowned Korean shaman Hwa-rim and Bong-gil traveling to America, called by a wealthy Korean-American family to identify the mysterious illness of the family's newborn son. Hwa-rim checks the baby's eyes and sees something mysterious. Later, at the home of Ji-young, the father of the baby, she senses something eerie. She uncovers the curse to be a grave's call, a vengeful ancestor spirit haunting them. Ji-young, who is truly terrified and trembling, requests them to relocate the grave to appease the ancestor, his grandfather. He promises to give them a substantial amount of money for the job. Hwa-rim enlists colleagues, geomancy master Kim Sang-deok and mortician Young-jun, who are also experts in handling such situations. Sang-deok specializes in selling burial locations for the wealthy, while Young-gun owns a funeral home. Later, Hwa-rim goes to meet Sang-deok and Young, where she explains the situation regarding the grave calling. They initially resist helping, as it seems to be an evil curse, but later agree to join after hearing that the family is offering them a lot of money to do so. Meanwhile, Ji-young, his elderly father, and the newborn baby start experiencing even more hallucinations about the grandfather. The next day, Sang-deok meets Ji-young and becomes wary when Ji-young insists on cremating the grave, which is located in a remote mountain near the North Korean border. Nevertheless, Sang agrees to go to the location. As they reach the location, Sang-deok backs out, sensing a sinister energy. He feels that it would not be right to dig out the grave, as it could result in serious consequences. However, later at Ji-young's home, Hwa-rim convinces them that she can perform rituals while the grave is being dug to avoid the curse. Ji-young tells them about a famous monk named Gisune, who provided the grave location for his grandfather, which perplexes Sang, as it is not a typical human name. The next day, Hwa-rim and Bong-gil perform the ritual by reciting strange verses and slaying pigs and drinking their blood. The excavation proceeds smoothly, and the designs on the coffin reveal that the grandfather belonged to a royal family of Korea. One of the grave diggers severs the head of a human-headed snake, triggering a bad omen, and heavy rainfall suddenly starts. Young-jun insists on cremating the coffin once the rain stops, as it is thought that if the cremation is done during the rainfall, the soul doesn't go to a good place. So, they store it at a nearby hospital ward. They tell the ward's custodian that they just want to temporarily store the coffin and it should not be opened at any cost. However, the local custodian opens the coffin, thinking that there will be treasure inside, and releases the vengeful entity inside, Ji-young's grandfather. Meanwhile, Sang goes to meet a monk who lives near the mountain, where the grave of Ji-young's grandfather is located. He asks him about Gisune, the monk who ordered to bury Ji-young's grandfather in the isolated mountain. The monk says that he doesn't actually know about Gisune, but he can sense that it may be because the grandfather deserved punishment for his wrongful deeds. That's why he was ordered to be buried there, because that land is cursed. Meanwhile, the entity targets his bloodline, as they are responsible for his misery for 100 years for burying him in the accursed land. First, he enters the house by possessing Ji-young's father, and then kills him dreadfully. Next, he attacks Ji-young's mother while she is dancing, by suffocating her. Finally, he unleashes his wrath on Ji-young himself. The grandfather is revealed to be a Japanese loyalist during the Korean occupation era. However, before he can reach the newborn baby, Sang-deok cremates the coffin, abolishing the curse. Months later, Young-jun informs Sang-deok about the disturbed gravedigger who killed a snake. He requests Sang-deok to bring the cadaver of the snake and burn it. Sang revisits the cursed gravesite and discovers the head of an onna, along with a double burial site for a 7-footed standing coffin. He calls Hwa-rim, Bong-gil, and Young-gun to dispose of the coffin. At first, Hwa forbids him to do that, but Sang wants to know the truth. The four excavate it and rest at a temple. There, Hwa puts rice and horse blood around the coffin to ensure the entity does not cause any harm. Hwa-rim learns from Ji-young's mother about Gisune monk, who is Japanese, and who cursed Ji-young's grandfather to be buried beside the evil entity. That night, the monk of the temple gets strangely killed. Bongil has a nightmare in which a monk is dancing on his lap and saying strange words. Want your liver. He barely manages to come out of the nightmare by reciting a spell. He then goes to see the coffin and witnesses a 7-foot figure obliterating humans and pigs. They find the coffin ripped from the inside. Hua sees the devil in the shape of a samurai. Bongil tries to attack the devil, but it catches him by the neck and stabs him in the liver. Bongil gets possessed, and the other 3 witness the creature turn into a ball of fire and fly back to the mountain. The 4 are taken to a hospital, and Bongil, thought to be in serious condition, barely survives after surgery, but his spine is completely shattered. News channels don't know the truth behind the scenes and state that there may be some wild bear in the mountains which is killing people. Hwarim investigates the creature's origin through the possessed Bongil. Sangdeok returns to the grave and finds the creature dormant on the coordinates written on the tombstone. He discovers that the grave's robbers were Korean patriots attempting to unearth a metal pole as part of a Japanese military conquest in Korea. Sangdeok tells Hwarim and Go-eun to devise a plan to unearth the pole from the grave so that the devil can be destroyed. Initially, Young does not agree to join due to the immense danger, but Sangdeok convinces him by saying that if they can stop the devil, they can free the land and future generations can live freely. Hwa sees Bongil's body and notices that the devil has not attacked the places where protective tattoos are engraved, meaning that if they cover themselves in tattoos, they can make themselves somewhat safer. Hwa says that she will try to distract the devil, and meanwhile, Sangdeok and Young can take the pole out and destroy it. The next day, the 3 go back to the mountain, covering their bodies with tattoos. Police officers are guarding the mountain and are not letting any tourists cross through. The police officer stops them and asks about their unusual tattoos, to which they reply that they are just going to perform some rituals on the mountain and will return after a while. The police officer lets them go with a warning. The 3 throw fishes as bait to attract the devil away from the grave and near a tree where Hwa can distract it so that the other shamans can dig. Hwa gives horseblood to Sang and Young and tells them that they can use it in case of emergency. Hwa then starts a smoke in a tree to hide herself. Meanwhile, Hwa's sisters, 2 other shamans, are beside Bongil at the hospital. They are assigned the task to follow the ritual of slaying a chicken if things go out of control, as Bongil's body is being possessed by the devil and using his digestive tract as a vessel to get energy and nutrients. The creature then rises after midnight. He starts eating the fishes that the shamans laid during the day. Eating one by one, he reaches the tree where Hwa is hiding. Meanwhile, Sang and Young rush to the grave and start digging to get the metal. Hwa tries her best to distract the devil, but he catches her. As he tries to attack her, Hwa's guardian angel, her grandmother, appears at the scene and protects Hwa. Hwa manages to escape, but Young surprises her by saying that there is no metal pole in the grave and all their plans have failed. The devil then changes into a fireball and angrily goes to the grave where Sang is still trying to dig. Sang watches the fireball and sees his demise. Hwa and Young rush towards the grave to protect Sang, but it is too late. The devil has now caught Sang and orders him to be his servant or die a miserable death. Sang refuses to obey, and then the devil unleashes his wrath. He grabs Sang and stabs him in his liver, terribly injuring him. Hwa and Young immediately throw the horse blood on the devil. The devil's body starts burning, and he releases Sang for a while. But then the devil grabs Hwa and Young by the neck and starts throttling them. At that time, Sang has a vision, revealing Monk Kitsune embedding a katana inside a decapitated samurai's body, turning the samurai into a ghoul, with Ji Young's grandfather's grave serving as a cover for the relic. Sangdeok realizes the pole is a sword embedded in the creature's body. Using the Korean patriot's wooden tool and blood, he stabs the devil in his foot. Hwa and Young get freed. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Bongil starts screaming in pain and agony. He begins vomiting black vomit. Hwa's younger sister tries to slay the chicken in order to stop the devil, but Hwa's older sister says that it's black vomit. It means that they are winning and the devil is about to die. Meanwhile, Sang has now grabbed the wooden katana and starts to slay the creature based on his elemental knowledge. He barely stands and then stabs its neck again and again until it cuts in half. The devil then perishes, and Bongil's body is also spared, and he comes back to his senses. Sang, however, is in a very critical condition, and he starts envisioning his death. But Hwa and Young hurry up and take him to the nearby hospital. At the time of surgery, Sang is just about at the brink of his death when he remembers that he has to attend his daughter's marriage ceremony. It gives him power, and he miraculously manages to survive. The news channel reports that the destruction at the mountain was caused by a bear and that it has been captured. Oh, the poor bear. It had nothing to do with all of this. After this post-apocalyptic event, we see that Sang has regained consciousness with the others by his bedside. Bongil has also started walking using crutches. They all celebrate by eating meat, while Sang is displeased to see them eating meat, as he has done with meat stuff after fighting with the devil. Now we see that all the shamans have returned to their normal lives. Hua is performing a dancing ritual at a temple, Yong is working at the funeral house, and Sang is handling a building project. However, all of them are traumatized by the past accident and are still haunted by the memory of the devil. Later, the four attend Sangdeok's daughter's wedding, where they all have a smiling group photo together, along with Sang's family. I hope you liked the story recap. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching and see you next time.